And we're back. Locks, thank you for joining me. The York is gone. Happy vibes all around. How are you feeling, Locks?
Ding dong, the Orky's gone. Yes. Yeah, mate, I'm happy. I'm happy. As you know, as we all are, really. As the fans are, as Top now probably is, as the players very much are happy. So yeah, it's good news all round, and it's time to find the replacement. Anyone but Cooper. We all said anyone but Cooper. So let's see who it is.
Anyone but Cooper. I don't know. I'm convinced that Top's been watching our YouTube shows, mate. I don't know if we feel like dicks now, or if we're vindicated. We were the only ones really to question the board, but have you turned a leaf of them? If they get a new manager appointment right, will you have rekindled faith in the board?
Well, yeah, it's already rekindled because I'm not being fussy, mate. I know you are. You're being a little bit fussy. I'm not. They sacked him. Anyone's an upgrade unless they go for fucking Southgate. As long as it's no one ridiculous, then yeah, I'm happy. My faith is restored. Top clearly has made the decision that he needed to make. And I mean, there's rumors left, right, and bloody centre about the board. I mean, the latest one this morning that Anil Centres was about. Apparently, there's some tension between the boards, between Top and Rudkin and Whelan, because Top just wants to act now and make the change, will make the replacement. Sounds like Rudkin and the others maybe want to do it officially and go through the full recruitment process. And mate, Top needs to show up to work and grab Rudkin by the balls and say, "You're fucking gone. You've had us for too long, you little rat."
I hope so. You little rat. You went full McGregor on me there. I hope so too. He's definitely overstayed. He's overstayed his welcome. Just going to quickly get some comments in. Great. Thank you for tuning in, mate. Pep. No, I don't think so, mate. I want Carlos now more than Van Nistelrooy or Potter. We're going to definitely get into that in a minute, Renee. Thank you for tuning in. Per Fox, good to see another person down under, particularly where I'm from, mate. How are you? Mancini, absolutely not. He's going to be living on that Saudi money, although, however, I'd be stoked to have him. He plays some sexy football. Renee's in again, and Rudkin and Whelan out. 100% Locks is on the money. Like, he's well part. If these rumors are to be true, Locks, it's a fucking piss take that he didn't want. But at the end of the day, he's the boss, and he's got to like stamp his authority. But I wonder how much it's true. Like, we've all talked about how morale was broken, the players look dejected. The pictures of JJ Winks fighting with, arguing with Cooper on the side touchline. Do you genuinely think that's true? That Tops walked into the dressing room and be like, "Shit, this is proper depressing."
Yeah, mate, I've spoken to multiple, like 2 or 3 people now who have like sources to the club, and they've all said that Chelsea was not the make or break game. Chelsea was not going to be the game where they sack him because, let's be honest, that's so dumb. Why would you not sack him and go, "Oh, we'll wait till Chelsea. We're going to get fucking smoked anyway," and we did. So, that wasn't going to be the game that was the make or break. However, Top saw something and heard something, and he went to that dressing room, or he was just in and around the club on that day, on Saturday, and it was just chaos. It was disgustingly, just the mood was clearly down. The players, it was clear, I'm guessing, that they just weren't having Cooper, and they made the decision. And from what I've heard, the players went obviously on holiday for the Christmas do. Cooper was driving back to Wrexham, which is where his family home is. And apparently he was in the car on the way back to his family, and he got the call from Mr. Rudkin saying, "You're sacked." So, look, guys, I want to say this because I've changed my tune on it a little bit. Like yesterday, I was kind of, or on Monday, I was kind of thinking, yesterday, I was kind of thinking like, well, someone's lost their job. We shouldn't all laugh. But then I thought to myself, Luke, he's just got fucking £2-3 million in the bag as well at the same time. You get me? You know what I mean? So you know what? No, I'm not going to feel sorry for him. Actually, fuck that guy. He's the reason that we could still well get relegated. So fuck that guy. Cooper out, Orc out. Bye bye, mate. Enjoy Wrexham, pal. Because He's had 2-3 million. Go to the I don't know. Go to an ice cream van, treat your kids to some ice cream, mate, and plan your next job because it's not going to be in the Premier League. That's for sure.
Fucking hell, man! I honestly felt bad as well because I was hearing stories that like he was crying and this and that, but then I thought, man, I've really gone in.
Nah, he wasn't crying.
He wasn't crying. And then I thought, you know what, like
he might have been. He might have been crying. He looked in the mirror. He looked in the mirror. He might have.
Well, look, as you said, he's got that £3-4 million. I'm sure he can invest that wires in Turkey, come back with a set of veneers and a hair transplant. He'd be looking at a new man, $1 million. So it's not all that doom and gloom for Steve Cooper. But, mate, we're here to talk about the next manager appointment. For money to have faith in the board again, we've got to get it right. There are a lot of serious ramifications if we go down. Just going to quickly pull up a few comments, and then we're going to go through this slide here. And if you want them, you can send it to me, but I know you're probably at the school, lad. And he always has the best takes on other people's channels. He's like Jekyll and Hyde. He's like all nice and professional on his channel, and then he comes over here and talks absolute fucking awesome takes. I agree, and Chelsea was a straw that broke the camel's back. Everything I think you said before, Locks, is true.
Yeah,
it still annoys me.
I don't believe the result has anything to do with it. I don't think the result has anything to do with it, mate. Genuinely.
You think it's just the players? Because it would make sense. Because it's like, why did you not get rid of him before during the international break? But that's why I'm leaning towards to believe that he's walked in and be like, this is something's going to change here.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. I think the only guy who's going to be upset that he's gone is Jordan Ayew, probably. I think he's the only bloody one. He's the only one probably who's going to be like, oh, what a shame he's gone. But yeah, the reaction. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I think it was. But again, I'll tell you who is going to be happy, Luke. This is the last thing I'll say on Cooper. It's my last little, you know, like when, well, this is a bit grim, but imagine your mate died, right? And you're at his funeral and you want to just get one last little like bit of banter or one last dig in at him. This is what I'll say. Cooper, at least he's got his £3-4 million in the bag. He can head over to Turkey. He can get his teeth done, his hairline done, his eyes done. He might come back a refreshed man. There we go.
Rocking a turtleneck like fucking Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yeah, he might come back Steve Cooperino. Steve Cooperino, next manager, yeah. That's my last dig.
That's your last dig. I hope I don't die before you. Like, mate, to see what you think about me. Daz, mate, I've been watching you on Ant's channel, mate. You've been killing it. You're a natural. If you want to join, lad, let me know in the comments and I'll send you a link. Mate, let's get into it because there's a lot to get into. Who will be Leicester City's next manager? Let's start with one of the bookies' favourites right now, mate. Ruud van Nistelrooy. What are your thoughts? Talk to me, Locks. Do you think that he has tried and tested? How much do you? I know he was caretaker at Manchester United briefly. He did well. How much of that is a managerial bounce, and how much of that is obviously players looking up to him? We don't want another Lampard or Gerrard situation. But he has done well at PSV.
Oh, hello.
But right,
Luke, I've lost you. Oh yeah, I've got you now. I've got you now. Right.
Sorry,
Ask
mate.
your question again. Ask your question again.
Do you think he would be more of a managerial bounce situation? Can you see him as a long-term person that could keep us up or get us back up? What are your thoughts on Van Nistelrooy?
Ruud van Nistelrooy is, I think it's an exciting one. I think it is a long-term project. I think he could be here for a long time. I think, though, Luke, that he is probably the biggest risk out of them all. I think he is a bigger risk than Corberán. Yes, he did well. He did well, of course, in was it PSV or Feyenoord? Which one was he at?
It was PSV.
PSV. He did well there. I think he very demanding though of the board, Luke. So I think he actually resigned, if I'm not mistaken. Did he resign? I mean, I'll do my real time. I'll do real time research here, Luke. Ruud van Nistelrooy. I'm sure he resigned.
It was like a mutual thing. It was one game to go. He called out the board. He didn't appreciate losing two of his best players. And it obviously showed how they've been going since he's left. I thought it was proper humble of him to go from being a manager at PSV, winning the cup, to then going as an assistant to Ten Hag. I thought, you know what, this guy obviously takes this quite seriously. His ego is in check. He's humble. And the way that he exited Man United, I think something to be commended. So I've got a lot of respect for him, how he handled it like a proper professional. I would be happy with his appointment. He's not my number one choice, Locks, but I would not be disappointed if he were to come in.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I've just seen he resigned with 1 game to go, citing lack of support. So he said it was a lack of support from the board. Is he the right man? And the club need to do their research as well, and I'm sure they have. Although knowing Rudkin, maybe not. But you know, is he going to do well at a club like Leicester, where money will be somewhat limited? And we know that next summer, if somebody comes in for 60 million for Hermansen, the club will accept it because that's what we do. We let a player go on big money. Is it going to be the same? Is it going to be rinse and repeat? And is he going to resign from Leicester and leave us in this shit? You know what I mean? So that's a worry. He obviously went and became Man United assistant. I think you're right. That is humble of him. However, how humble it is, I don't know. I think he probably knew Ten Hag wasn't going to last long. And I think he thought he was going to be the next man. That's what I think. I think he was going to... I think he left... He left offers on the table from Burnley, and I think there was a couple others, to go to United because he thought, right, I'm going to go here. Ten Hag's going to get sacked, and I'm going to be the next man. So how humble it is, I'm not sure, mate. Obviously, he's left now because Amarin's come in, and he didn't want him. So, yeah, it's... We'll see, mate. I do think this is I think he is the biggest risk of them all. I think Corberán is less of a risk than Van Nistelrooy.
We'll get into him next. Daz, mate, I've been looking forward to getting you on here, mate. I think you're absolutely crushing it. You're a natural. But before you say anything, lad, show us that frame photo because I am James Maddison's lawyer, lad, and I miss him dearly as well.
Oh, what a top.
There we go. There we go, lads. There we go. Show that to a Cobb fan. Daz, how are you, mate? What are your thoughts on Van Nistelrooy?
Yeah, good, mate. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. I've got to come on, support everybody with our Leicester fan channel. I was just outside clearing an old neighbour's car, bless him. He's got cancer, so I like to try and help out where I can. But yeah, jump in, definitely.
Canal, you make us look like fucking idiots over here.
No, honestly, I don't know how I got up. I don't know how I got up, mate, honestly. But no, I mean, it's one of them. I wouldn't be disappointed with Ruud van Nistelrooy's appointment. I think a lot of people in the media are making a big, like a storm in a teacup, really, about this Steve Cooper sacking and everybody being like, oh, he didn't deserve it, this, that, and the other. Oh, you're still 16th in the table. I think we were right to get rid of him. You know, we watch Leicester City on a daily basis. We all follow it a lot. And seeing the decline, it was only going to get worse. So I'm actually proud of the board for doing their due diligence and doing it now and nipping it in the bud. Ruud, he did well at Manchester United for me, mate. PSV, again, he did a good job. But my only thing is, he was probably one of the top teams in that division, opposed to, you know, like we come to the Premier League with us, we're a small fish in a big pond. So it's kind of, can he replicate that? I would be excited by it because he can rock a turtleneck, mate, and I'm all up for that. I think that's pretty cool. But I would prefer Carlos Corberán as my personal pick. But yeah, I wouldn't be disappointed with Ruud, mate. I'd welcome him with open arms.
Mate, I wouldn't be disappointed either, and I think that you guys are both bang on to mention, particularly Locks, that you said that one of the comments he said was he was not backed by the board. Now, our last two managers, or Rodgers and Maresca, have both called out the board, so that could turn sour, and that is an asterisk that's definitely worth weighing up if he was to be appointed. But if he does, I will be behind him. Anything's an upgrade other than Cooper. This is the one that, man, everyone wants, everyone's talking about. Let's get into Carlos Corberán because he's definitely one of my top choices and a very excitement appointment. How much of you guys have you watched? Are you just judging West Brom by the few games that we've played him? How much have you thoroughly watched of Corberán? I'm well aware that he had very, very little budget to work with, and he's done wonders at West Brom before that. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that it could be another Potter situation if we bring him in, that he's going to have a lot more money that he's been used to? And can he build a team, or is he just a project of what he's got available? I'll start with you for that, Locks. What are your thoughts on Corberán?
Well, we need a turtleneck, look. bring it up, Luke. Luke, bring it up. Rexy!
Rexy!
Sorry, mate. To answer, you can bring your thing back up. Sorry, I had to show that. About Corberán. Yes, we did a call-in show last night, and we were actually shocked that like majority of people did go for Corberán, because from the polls that we'd done, he wasn't even like third choice. Like it was Potter, Van Nistelrooy, then Will Still, then Corberán, and then Moyes. So yeah, we were surprised, but I'm all for it. King Carlos, let's do it. I understand the concerns about West Brom, like where they are. I think they had like, I'm sure I read they bettered Enzo's start to the season, so they had a better start than Leicester did last year. But they've fallen off a little bit. They've been struggling to score goals. However, they are the third lowest conceders in the Championship this season. They've conceded the third least goals. And but then again, on the flip side, they're also the 14th top goal scorers. So there's concerns there. Of course there is. However, what I would say is he has never had any money to spend. I mean, they spent 4 million this year, which again, in the Championship, it's not the worst amount, but still, compared to the teams that are above them now, you have Leeds, you have Burnley, you have Sheffield United, you've got Sunderland. They've all spent money, quite a bit more money than Carlos has. I mean, at Huddersfield, he took them to the playoff final against Steve Cooper. They lost, but when he left, they were like in the bottom three then the following year. So they completely dropped off. So to be honest with you, mate, I think it's one of them. He's not the only one. There's a lot of managers in football that you think, God, what could he do if he was given some money? I mean, Steve Cooper spent £80 million this summer. 80. Yeah. 80. We let an orc, we let a village troll, right, spend 80 great British pounds this summer, right? So imagine, and we brought in Oliver Skip for 25. We brought in Cordova-Reid on a free. We brought in Ayew. You know, I know he's been good, but this is a lot of money. And imagine you gave it to somebody who's a real tactician, somebody who knows what he wants, somebody who knows what he wants from his team, not just sending them out there to do something and he doesn't really know what. So I think Carlos Corberán, and we're led to believe, Luke, just little rumors that have come out over the last couple of weeks, that we're going to spend a little bit of money this January. And I do believe we are, because the club of Luke, the conversation we had the other day about should the board just throw everything at it, staying up, spend what they can to stay up. I think that's what they're going to do, because that's why they've sacked Cooper as well, by the way. They've kind of panicked in a way and thought, right, we cannot go down to the EFL. We're fucked if we do. So I think they're going to spend money in January. And I trust Carlos to spend it wisely and to bring the people in he needs. So, yeah.
Very good take, Locke. So what do you think, Daz? So like hypothetically, so we were talking about this the other day, if we were to go down with the ramifications of, I was listening to you talk to Anne about, we might be forced to play youth if we were to get relegated because of the transfer embargo and not be able to buy or sign anyone. Now, that's the biggest scary thing to me. So we definitely have, in my opinion, have to spend money in January, one, to keep our chances with their injuries and our depth to stay up, and B, with half the intention of, look, these players might stay the following season if we get a decent contract in now. So with let's just jump ahead, because, look, in my opinion, the biggest thing that got wrong with Steve Cooper is he did not build upon the foundations that Enzo laid. The club came out and said they wanted to play a possession-based football, building back, utilizing our squad to what we bought them in for. Now, I'm just going to jump ahead here because it's while we're on topic. We'll get through these. We'll come back to these. David Moyes, he would be a pair of safe hands, yes. But do you have faith in him, Daz, to be able to rebuild a squad or be able to add to it? Because he's a completely different ilk and style of manager to, one, what we kind of need to utilize our players, and B, to be able to build upon that. So do you think that it'd be ripping up too many trees, so to speak, to bring him in?
I'd say so, yeah, because I think one of the other things with Steve Cooper is when we made the appointment, it was, well, when we lost it, let's go back to Enzo. When we lost Enzo, it was the club were like, don't worry, guys, we're going to try and continue on the philosophy that we've built and tried to build under Enzo Maresca, so the change won't be too different. We were then speaking to Graham Potter, who I believe would have been able to continue and made it tiny little adaptations to possession style football. Everybody would have been behind it. You then go to quote Locks, the orc, the little goblin, who completely cannot play possession style football. And he's just, well, he may as well just close his eyes and throw a dartboard in a room, quite frankly, of how he was going to pick his team. So I feel the same with David Moyes. David Moyes is a safe pair of hands. He would make us very difficult to play against, and he'd probably just do the low block on a counter, which is fine. But I'll be quite frank, I think any manager can do a low block. It's just a tactic in a football match. So if you're going to build for the future, David Moyes, for me, would not be the pick. And it doesn't sing with what the club have said. But then again, we don't know what the club want until we hear a statement from the club, until we see certain things moving forward, mate. I'm a bit unsure of where the club want to take things at the minute, because they should never have appointed Cooper, in my opinion. He did get appointed. Yes, they've done the right thing by getting rid of him as quickly as they have. And look, I'm happy with that. But my God, they need to make their mind up. And whoever they appoint next needs to be the right appointment for building. And that's why I think Cooper failed, mate. I'll be honest. I think the players felt a little bit hard done by, like the fans did. We were promised X, Y, and Z to follow on from something they were trying to build. They didn't deliver. They gave us Steve Cooper, and he was the farthest thing from it. So I can understand why they rallied against him, which is a shame.
100%, Daz. Locks, just think like these Leicester City players. They're playing all these games in the championship. The complete morale was completely gone after we got relegated. I thought we were going to get back-to-back relegated. That's how much despair I felt at the end of that game. It felt like we were attending a wake watching the players on the pitch that last game against West Ham. Enter Enzo Maresca. He brings an identity, a brand, a style of football. The players get behind it quick. You see the sideline, the morale's back. These guys are playing all these games together, and they're used to teams playing a low block. Everyone's playing us like Man City. We're having a lot of possession, but basically we're going to have to, chuck hand grenades into parked buses pretty much every game, week in, week out, and we're loving it. And how much were you, Locks, excited with Enzo Bob thinking, you know what, he's going to get backed? And nowhere near amount of teams are going to play us in the Premier League how they played us in the Championship. So, yeah, we might get caught and come undone and concede a lot of goals, but I could see it being a lot like, how Enzo, when Southampton tried to play us at our game, left himself open and we absolutely smacked him twice. So I was very, very curious to see how Enzo was going to go, and he's proven that he can do it at Chelsea. So imagine how the players felt, Locks, after all that, and then they bring in Steve Cooper, and then we could already identify in the preseason how many times we'll turn the ball over, how much patterns of play and our build-up play were just non-existent under Steve Cooper. We completely went backwards.
Yeah, absolutely. I think whether people like it or not, the players want to play the way they did under Enzo. That is modern football for you. Pep Guardiola has changed. I know he didn't start it, but Pep Guardiola has changed football forever. And until somebody else comes in and finds a new way, and that's the way players want to play, and the thing is, mate, I had a wobble about in February of this year, sorry, with Enzo, when we started losing games and we struggled to start scoring, and I had a wobble and I was like, this isn't good enough. He needs to find a better way. He needs to make tweaks. And let's be honest, Luke, even though you were a big fan, you've got to admit that with Leicester, he didn't really make many tweaks, and he didn't look like he was going to find a solution. And it looked at one point, mate, that we weren't going to go up. It genuinely did, because Leeds and Ipswich were right on our tail. However, we got over the line. And right now, Luke, this season with Chelsea, it has proven that he is willing and he is able to make tweaks, and he has made many tweaks at Chelsea, and he's finding other ways, and he's not as stubborn as we thought. So that this season, if anything, I think, with Chelsea, has proven how good he really is. So with Cooper coming in, it completely went out the window. He said he watched every Leicester game last season. Bullshit. Not a chance.
Fucking lie. Biggest lie.
Liar. He drops Ricardo. He dropped Mavididi. He dropped Winks sometimes. All of these players, he fell out with
He played for
Vestergaard.
Tau as a left wing back. Go fuck off and eat an apple for a tennis racket, you ugly bastard. What the fuck was that about? But anyways, moving on.
But you know what the sad thing is? You know what the sad thing is now? Both of you, right? Daz and Lee, this is the sad thing.
Yeah.
He came in and he ostracized Ricardo, Winks, and Fatawu. He's been sacked, and all three of them players are now injured. All three of them.
Oh, mate. Yeah.
Imagine Ruud or Potter or Corberán came in and he had them players to work with, and now he doesn't for the time being. He doesn't have them. I mean, Winks might be back soon. I'm not sure on Ricardo. That's in a few weeks, and then Fatawu's gone for the season. I mean, Fatawu's probably thinking, "Oh my God, I would love to have had a new manager coming in," but there we go. What can we do?
What can we do? Right. This may be a waste of time. We're hearing all reports that he's off the cards. Can you see Graham Potter, Daz, coming of his tail between his legs? He didn't get the England job. He didn't get any other Big Six job. Can you see him coming to us and wanting the job, or do you just think he needs to fuck right off?
Quite frankly, I was having this conversation yesterday with Ant, and obviously we were saying, like, everyone was like, "Oh, he's my favourite, this. Every caller on TalkSport, oh, he's my favourite." Quite frankly, when he rejected us, the first time I completely understand and appreciate, I watched a video of him on YouTube. He did an interview speaking to Chelsea. The reason he rejected us after we'd done and lost Enzo or something or other was, I think his parents passed away or something. There was something on that thing there. And like Ant said, there's a restraining order now with Potter. For me, mate, all joking aside, he's past his sell-by date for me. He clearly doesn't believe in Leicester City. Now, whether that's to do with Rudkin, whether that's to do with what his demands were, that's why we couldn't get him. If he's not feeling the club and his heart's not in it, I don't want the bloke. We need someone to grab this team by the scruff of the neck and, get the players in, get them humming to the beat, not putting stupid signs about bloody Enzo Maresca being missed at Copenhagen. We need that gone. They clearly thought Steve Cooper was a bit of a meme manager, like we all do. But whoever comes in needs to get a tune out of him. And I don't think Potter's that guy. As much as I would have loved the prospect of Potter coming in, because I did rate him when we did lose Maresca the first time, I thought he would be the natural appointment. I just don't see it, mate. I think he's waiting for another job, maybe West Ham. And again, like Ant's just said there, he doesn't probably want to work with a weasel. I wouldn't want to work with a weasel like Rudkin. Quite frankly, if I was anywhere near Rudkin, I'd smack the. I'm not trying to be that guy, but I'd smack him between the mouth. I just think he's an absolute idiot who's surplus to requirements. But I think that's another conversation for another day. I think Potter, for me, is past his sell-by date with us, and he'll probably want to go to somewhere like West Ham, maybe Wolves, somewhere like that. I think he definitely wants to stay in the Premier League, but whatever it is with Leicester City, we've had a dance with him. He doesn't like our two-step, so we can sod off for me.
100%, I'm with you there, Daz. And do you think, for everything that Daz just said about Potter and his parents, do you also think that, like, at first you could understand Locke's why he didn't want to come? He's just had a brutal sacking at Chelsea. It didn't go well. He left a good project at Brighton. Maybe he needed a break, but it's been nearly 2 years, and I think that could show a lack of ambition. And that goes to, what Daz was saying. You want to get these players grabbed by the scruff of the neck, and that's why Ruud van Nistelrooy, that's one big pro for him. He's itching to get straight back into it. So this guy wants to manage. This guy's ambitious. So it would be a risk, but for everything I just said there, that's one pro that would tip towards Ruud van Nistelrooy. The man wants to manage. He wants to do it. He's hungry. So that's one pro for him. Being for Corberán, this is my first choice. Will Still locks. That preseason game, I started watching and following them a lot more after I watched that. This guy plays very, very similar to Enzo Maresca. Building of high eights, attacking in fives. There's triangle passing was beautiful between the wingers and the eights. They carved us apart in that preseason. I know it's a preseason, but again, we had an identity against Liverpool. They purely had an identity of their own at their preseason game against a Premier League side and us. So, locks. Yeah. He's not biggest in the odds, but this is a brilliant young appointment, and I think the players would take to his tactics like a duck to water. This is my first choice.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree. If he was in the betting odds and if he was anywhere, if he was being linked and all of this stuff, I would probably proceed with this as my number one. It's just hard to really get excited for it when it's. I mean, it's looking like it's just never going to happen, unfortunately. So I agree with you though. Tactics wise, I think he would get the players on board. Obviously, he's young, and some people say that the younger managers maybe struggle to gain respect from the players. I mean, how old is he? How old is he?
He's 31, I think, but he's been
So he's
managing
younger
since he
than
was
half of our
24.
bloody players. Yeah. So he's
Yeah.
younger than half of our players. But I still think it would be okay. I mean, look at her. Look at the Brighton manager as well. He's really young as well. So, yeah, it is what it is, mate. It's a shame that he's not anywhere. He's not linked anywhere. So it looks like it's not going to happen. But I would take it 100%.
What about you, Des? What are your thoughts on Will Still?
Yeah, I think Will Still's decent, to be fair. When we played Lens in pre-season, they absolutely span us a biscuit, quite frankly. I thought they were really, really good. We couldn't lay a glove on them in pre-season, and I know pre-season you shouldn't really think too much about it, but for me that echoes however many games Steve Cooper was in charge where we didn't actually get a decent full 90-minute performance. It was just more of the same. So he did impress me. And obviously he got a tune out of, if I'm not mistaken, Mendy plays for him at Lens, doesn't he? If I'm not mistaken, Mendy.
Yes, he does.
Was playing. Yeah, so he got a tune out of him. Young managers for me, I think obviously I know we're going about the players and the manager and everything, and obviously needing to connect with them and everything. But I think, like Lox has said there, we've had a little bit of an idea of how players can react. And I think it's not the age so much. I think it's if they're galvanized and they believe in a project and they can see where you're trying to go. Because there's fans looking in on watching Steve Cooper's type of football. I don't want to bash him any more than he's already been bashed, the poor sod, But I'm going to. There was no identity with Steve Cooper. There was no philosophy, no style of play, nothing. So for someone like Will Still, who has a philosophy, who has a style of play, the players would know what to do. I go back to when we had Enzo Maresca in the Championship. Everybody knew their role. Everybody knew where to stand. Everybody knew what to do in transition, out of transition, with the ball, without the ball. Enzo Maresca was mad on that side of things. Whereas Steve Cooper looked like he was trying to, I don't know, get in with the lads, go for a cheeky little pint down the pub with the boys, just have a laugh. He was trying to be their friend more than their coach or their manager. So I think someone that's like Will Still would be a very good appointment. But I'm surprised he's not in and around the odds as much as he is, quite frankly, because I'd snap their arm off to have him, quite frankly.
He's 50-1.
Jesus Christ, that's not great, is it, really, for Will Still? That's it's a bit embarrassing.
These are the updated odds. Van Nistelrooy is 6-4. Moyes 2-1. There's been some movement on Moyes. Graham Potter's 7-2. Corberán 11-2, and then it fucking shoots down to Michael Carrick 10-1. And then at 25-1, you've got Lee Carsley, Mark Robbins, and Edin Terzic. 33-1, you've got Southgate, Mourinho, Maurizio Sarri. 40-1, Ten Hag, Cambiasso, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And then 50-1, Will Still, Rob Edwards, Liam Rosenior, and the ex-Denmark manager, Ketil Knudsen. So there you go.
Jesus.
What a name.
what a guy.
Yeah, what a guy.
Vardy's 33-1, by the way. Vardy is 33-1.
Is Rodgers not on that list as well?
Not on this list I've got. Sky Bet has not got Rodgers on it. Sky Bet's not got Rodgers on it. But he might be somewhere. I'd take it. I'd take Rodgers back.
Would you really?
Only because it's a fresh squad, basically. Only because it's a fresh squad. It will never happen, obviously. I'm not going to talk about it, but it's a fresh squad.
That.
The first year and a half or 2 years of a Rodgers team is the best part. This is basically a brand new squad, so I'm sure he could get us some wins. But no. In reality, no, mate. No.
Look at Logs, backtracking. I personally wouldn't take it back, but then again, anyone's better than Cooper. Look, Daz, give me we'll wrap this up shortly, Daz. I'll pull up some stats quickly in a minute, but Daz, give me your shout. Who do you want and who is your number one choice?
My number one choice is the same, and it always has been. It's Carlos Corberán. I wanted Corberán when we first lost Enzo Maresca. I just feel like I can't say it better than Ant did, and Locks personally. He's done what Locks has just said there about Huddersfield and what he's doing at West Brom. I completely echo, quite frankly. He did really well. He's never really been backed, and we took a really big gamble with Enzo Maresca, and it paid off. Carlos Corberán's proved himself in a division below, which is, let's be quite frank, a hard division to get out of when you're not backed with parachute payments and so on and so forth. And he's done very well to get them where they are. So I think if he came to us, and again, I have to agree with Locks, he's got to be backed. He's 100. Whoever comes in has got to be backed. And I feel that they will be backed because they know that we cannot afford to go down. So I think Carlos Corberán would be like a Cheshire cat. He'd come in, he'd get all these Premier League experienced players, and he'd be like, oh, I can spend in the window as well. So I think he'd really enjoy himself, and I think it'd be a good appointment personally. But yeah, Corberán for me, mate.
Daz, Corberán all the way. Well put, mate. Locks, you're going to go for King Corberán as well, brother?
Yeah, Corberán or... I'm going to say I would be okay with Moyes on the basis that he, I think, is the safest. No, Luke, come on. The safest at keeping us up 100% is David Moyes. 100% David Moyes.
So I'll say this. Okay, you're right, Locks. Don't worry, mate. I agree with you, particularly the defense and sorting that out, which has been a calamity at the moment, particularly Sideshow Bob. But I agree with Daz. If someone's going to be, they have to be back no matter what who we bring in. But I think David Moyes, as we mentioned earlier, is the worst choice in terms of the future. And I can see him keeping us up, but I can't see any massive progression with the following season. And I can see it potentially turning sour, having us to get rid of him and then bringing a new manager. And if we bring in a new manager after that, who wants to play possession style football again, or the modern age style of football, you're going to have all these players that Moyes has potentially bought that the new manager doesn't like. So I think we have to stick to an identity, and that's why think it's so criminal that we appointed Steve Cooper in the first place. I would be more than happy with Corberán. I just think that Corberán, Will Steele, and Van Nistelrooy, at least, I think I could trust them to have an identity and the players to bring in to do that. So that's my vote. I'm going to go for Will Steele, but it's unlikely, and then Corberán. Guys, anything else? First of all, Daz, thank you so much for joining, mate. I'm happy to have you on. Guys, he is a new Leicester City content creator. Please go ahead and check him out. Daz, give a shout out to your channel, mate, where people can find you. You muted, lad.
Daz. You muted, mate.
Yeah, sorry.
There
mate.
You go.
Phone
Silent plug.
Keeps freezing, mate. I'm sorry. I can hear like every other word. It's come through now. Sorry.
You're right.
So what was
again.
the question?
Look, mate, I'm really stoked you came on. I think you're doing some great stuff with Ants, and I think you're a natural to it. Give a shout out to your channel, mate, where people can find you and what you got planned.
Yeah, appreciate it, mate. Sorry for that, guys. Literally, I'm trying to run up and down the stairs. I hate doing it on my phone. I tried calling into Lox's channel the other day, and I was on my phone. I've got a setup in the kitchen, but the wife's put the washing machine on, so I can't use that. YouTube is at LCFC_Daz. I am trying to put a bit more content out there at the moment, but with everything going on with Cooper and all these other things, I've not had a chance to record much. I really appreciate the kind comments, guys. I love the Leicester City community space at the moment. I think everyone's doing really good bits, and I am, like I say, watching everybody that I possibly can. So yeah, really appreciate it, guys.
Bang on, Daz. You're a legend, mate. Good to have you on. Look forward to having you on again, hopefully. Locks, mate, my partner in crime, as always. You and Anil do so much to help me out, mate. I really appreciate it. We're both stoked that the Orc's gone. I'm going to see you, hopefully, match day live with a new manager, hopefully on Saturday, yeah?
Yeah, although as it's looking currently, we'll probably have bloody Ben Dawson or whatever his name is, one of the fucking coaches in charge on the touchline. So I think regardless, we're gonna smoke Brentford 3-0 anyway, because the players are gonna be Cooper was just a depression, a cloud hanging over them. That's gone now. So we'll we will perform. So yes, I'm gonna see you then. Matchday live Saturday. We've obviously got some other bits coming out on Blue Tick Glasses before then. So yeah, check us out. That'd be much appreciated.
Awesome, guys. Blue Tinted Glasses, soon to be the #1 Leicester City content creator. Absolute awesome stuff that them and Anil are doing. Guys, if we don't have a new manager in charge, hopefully we might have Connor Cody as our caretaker on Saturday against Brentford.
If Winks is injured, get him on the touchline, man. Why not? Get him on the touchline.
Can't be any worse, can it? Let's be quite frank. It can't be any worse.
No.
Let's put Danny Ward up front too. Guys,
Jesus Christ.
like and subscribe to all our channels, please. I'm nearly at 300. I'd be stoked if I could get there by this weekend. Have a good week, and hopefully we get this appointment right and we have faith in the board again. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.